All right, so pairing talents. Um, how do we want to start with this? Why is this important? Why should a new player pay any attention to the talents? What could possibly go
Girl,
wrong
girl,
if they
you
pick a
don't pay
different
attention
talent?
to these motherfucking
I
talents.
love how I just
People
opened a
are
can of
gonna
worms.
think people are gonna think you're throwing the game. Why
What do
are
you
you
mean I
playing a
can't go
damaged
damage
talent?
pip and heal you? Why is my why why can't I heal you like combat medic? What do you mean? What's the difference?
I said a bitch. Read.
Mm, mm.
So
Are you talking about pairing talents like multiple champions?
yeah, just in general, why is it important? Like what pairing talents with, in general, just with the champions, with your cards, with the items. Why does any of that? Because that's what took me forever. Like, why does any of
Gotcha.
that play into part, and why is it important?
I would say, depending on the champion, the talent is usually the one, not the one thing, but it's usually the most significant thing that changes your playstyle of that champion.
This is true.
Barrack is a great example. You try to be a shieldy, hunker down Barrack,
Mm-hmm.
perfect. Fortified up.
Mm-hmm.
You trying to kind of be sniper Barrack a bit. Tinkering can let you do that.
Yeah.
Which I think it's really good. Like, honestly, I run main tank
Mhm.
tinkering on longer maps because of that advantage that, like, I
Yeah.
can still, do my tank thing, but it allows me to not have to run in their face to do that damage. So, I think for most champions, because some champions, not quite. It's more so the cards that change it up. Like, Nyx. I think her cards change her playstyle up more than her talents, for example. Betty, too. But your talent is typically going to be the one thing that changes your playstyle the most.
Yeah, I was just starting to write here because as I was listening to you, I was thinking of what other this pairing your talents. And again, when I say that, keep in mind I'm speaking very generally because again, this does apply to everything. So narrowing it down we could go down a rabbit hole. So I'm trying to keep this very light and sweet. But this can impact how much more or less damage, shielding, healing, yeah, you do.
Healing is a big one. Some
Healing
supports
is a big-
cannot keep up the heals without certain talents. Cough, cough, ying.
Yeah,
Damage
yeah, yeah. What else can we think of?
talents.
Let's see.
I'm trying to think, like, ooh,
Um,
pairing talents to buff your teammates.
Oh
Pairing
yeah, I was
yeah.
thinking of like pairing like comboing like
or
talents with
I like
champions
that. Wait, hold on.
together.
Comboing is a better word.
Comboing. Yes,
Comboing.
comboing.
Yeah, comboing talents can be very
Is that even a word?
sure.
Comboing.
Comboing?
Comboing is not a word, but it's a word today, bitch.
We're
Today it
making it
is.
a word.
Wombo! I wombo!
I combo.
I
You
combo.
combo. We
I think-
all wombo.
I think one of the best combos is Grok and Terminus for their Grok having the totem talent because he can put the speeds out for Terminus, and Terminus having a speed build already, like with his first talent. Heck, you can even run the stuns with it, honestly.
Yeah.
But like Term really, really, really benefits from any speed buff that he has since he's a almost purely melee character.
I put comboing talents with various champions, buff your teammates.
Yeah, there you go. I think another one would be like Anara with Mother's Grace and any strong healer that can pump out like a lot of healing really quickly on a single champion. Like she loves the big bursty single target heals because Anara is one of the only champions now that can counter cauterize just in her kit, and Mother's Grace is one of the best ways to do it. Very consistent, reliable.
Yeah.
Abilities,
And
so it's
that
not like you have to
DR.
proc a certain health threshold or
Yeah.
hit a certain ability or hide behind a shield to get that buff or something like that. Like
I'm gonna add in
hard
here,
to get.
especially with Rejuve rework.
Because like some champions, like Makoa, he's got he's got actually a really strong. Let me see, which one is it?
Here, Itachi, I'll add your point into parentheses because that's good to follow what I was writing there. Solar
His
Blessing.
determination. Under 60% health threshold, which tanks sit under 60% often. Maybe not all the time, but it's not. It's more common to see a tank under 60% than a damage. Usually, if they're under 60% as damage, they're about to die.
Yeah.
And him being able to take 30% of cauterize away, that's huge for a tank. But he has to be under that 60% threshold.
Yeah.
Anara's talent allows her to do that just hitting an ability.
Right.
So that's what I mean as far as like the more consistent value of it.
Ooh, I guess if we're going this route, Io. Didn't even think about it. Io's Goddess Blessing that gives not only DR, but then pairing that, what I do, pair it with the movement speed. So I'm going to add that in there.
Good for anybody who doesn't have movement.
Anybody. Oh my god. I have buffed.
We also have to take that because there are certain characters with, some of their cards that also give movement speed and,
yeah.
As well.
Io's Goddess Blessing.
I think hold on, let me see if this will actually make sense.
I feel like we all have good ideas, but wording it is like the toughest part.
Right. I'm trying to
I almost nearly had a stroke trying to explain what I meant when y'all were like, what do you mean pairing counts? I was like, duh. I had a moment.
Well, I was just going to say, like, if you want to like do like pairing items and talents together, thinking along the process of, okay, is this talent specifying one ability, and does that ability in my cards, oh wait, we're talking about cards and items. I'm glad I thought that through.
Oh,
Justin's
yeah,
gonna
because
delete the last 5 sentences he said.
Yeah, because that's not the next one builds. But
I was like, wait, hold up.
We could add that to the
That's
next
why
one.
I stopped myself.
Yeah. Fucking Justin's always like 5 steps ahead of us, bro.
I'm sorry.
You'd have thought your ass was from New York, not me. Shit. Living in Florida slowed me down, girl.
Hey, my step family is from New York.
Let's go. Got a mob out there. Let me find out.
Yes.
All right, so then that's our cue to segue on in to the pairing builds. So what were you trying to say about that?
So, pairing items and talents together cards and talents together, I think is really crucial when you're making your builds, for sure. So, example, if you have like Tyra has great cards that have good cooldowns. She has her one for Firebomb, which takes 3 seconds off, so if you're running Burn Monster, you probably want to be spamming that fire everywhere. Or if she's on Mercy Kill, or is that the talent? Yeah, with the nades, you probably want to be doing the cooldowns on the nades, especially since there's 3 nades and it takes 2.5 seconds off that cooldown.
I'm gonna word it like this because you're talking.
I know. I was like, I just word vomited. So however you want to shorten that.
I put keeping in mind the talent you plan on going, base your loadouts on what benefits the talent is buffing, or in some cases nerfing. Because guys, I want to add that point in there because this is something that y'all motherfuckers don't read. Like some people go certain talents and then are just like shickety shockety shooketh when their shit is not working the way it's supposed to, and it's like, well, look at the talent you went. Or sometimes it's not the talent, sometimes it's a card. Omen, Lilith, very good examples of having cards that actually hinder them rather than help them, and people will see it and maybe misinterpret the card and then max that shit, and then
that one card at level 1.
We're attacking the Reaver. We're attacking the Reaver. Yes.
Are we talking about the card that reduces their ammo?
Yes.
You cannot run that at level. Well, you can, but if you're not maxing that card, you shouldn't.
If you're not hitting headshots, you can't do it. And I've seen people who are skilled who cannot fucking make it work. Like, it's just so bad the way it's worked.
Yeah.
So I wanted to
That's
throw
a
that
good
in
point.
there.
I didn't even think about like some cards.
As
can
you were
actually nerf
talking,
you
I
in some
that
cases, 'cause
popped in my
that's-
head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge example of that for sure.
I'm so glad. Like, I bounced my
Trying to think
ideas
of
off
others
of
like
y'all.
Shaw's talent also can have the same effect too. Well, I guess it's a talent more than a card thing, but same concept. Just to throw that in there.
Throw it in there.
His Desert Silence changes the cripple to a silence, which I think a silence is is stronger. You can't use any abilities instead of just movement abilities. Whereas like the Sand Trap, it'll give you more. I guess it's not really a nerf. They're both positives.
It's situational. I think one's more niche than the
Oh,
other.
there you go. Yeah, like if they don't have any like movement, why would you not go Desert Silence?
Right.
The
True.
crippling arrow is not going to actually cripple anybody if they don't have movement.
This is true. Yeah, if
But
there's
you
not
can silence
anyone,
them out
yeah.
of throwing out shields or
I didn't
something
think
like
about
a
that.
siphon or something like that.
That's a very
Yeah,
good point.
it always throws me off when I'm like a Nando and I get hit by that shit because I'm like, I'm not trying to dash. Why can't I throw my shield up? What's happening?
Yeah,
It
you don't
throws me off
expect
so
it, and
bad.
I honestly, to go off your point, I don't really see a lot of silent shaws. Like, it's just not something I really see. Like, I know that in the more higher elos, it's played, but honestly, even still, not.
I
Like,
think
it's
because
just
the
not.
burst that Sand Trap gives is just
It's
so nice.
way
It's hard to pass that
better.
up.
Yeah. I've ran all his talents, and I've got to say, for me, it's either Recurve or Sand Trap. I have builds for all three talents, but I've not ran Silence in forever.
And Sand Trap increases the duration of the cripple, so when you are really trying to lock down someone who's mobile,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, it's real good. I love that
I
shit.
get why. I get why.
The same way that Anara, you know, I have the cripple hoe build for Anara. I have the same thing for fucking Shalin. But so for builds then, what are some other examples of pairing a build with, you know, a specific champion, or if you're running as a 5-stack, you know, what are some builds that can help, you know, your teammates or shift the game? People like Tavia and her alt generate, you know, her. That's actually a
I
good point.
think
We didn't bring up Tavia.
I think Drogos is a good example.
All the builds I know are all meme builds that we run while we're playing
True.
fucking customs.
This is true.
I would say Drogos, even though I don't play Drogos, and Drogos mains, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his builds do need certain, like, or his talents do need certain builds to be very effective. Like, with worm jets and stuff like that, or not worm jets, the, I guess worm jets is an example, but I'm thinking of the fire spit one. Combustible. Having that one paired with the cooldown card really helps you spam that out. And
Especially
it also,
managing your what the fuck is that? Your fuel?
Yeah, and then the worm jets with the fuel cards. Yeah, you saw where I was going with that.
Yeah, I had to think about it because I used to play a lot of Jokers because when I first met
Ooh.
Infernal, that's all I wanted to play.
Another thing, as far as this is kind of like another nerf build thing. Follow the scent. It actually nerfs you because it makes your fire spit bigger. Yes, it's easier to hit long range, but it's more it's easier to hit a wall if you're trying to, like, you know, hit it by something or someone to run into it. That bigger fire spit, more, I don't know. I think that's a nerf card in my opinion. Granted, Jogos mains, correct me if I'm wrong.
I think that that's only
I've
used
heard that from
for
other Jogos mains
combustible
before, too,
players,
so.
though. Like, for specific, and that's very niche specific because, like, combustible, even with that, you're just trying to get cooldowns, not necessarily have a bigger spit. So
Exactly.
I see
You
what
can invest in
where
other
you're
things,
going
like the
with it.
reload or
Yeah,
something.
I think that there's a time and a place for it. I don't think it's something you necessarily need to, like, have in your loadout. But
I think it's good when you're learning Drogos and you're trying to, like, get down the throw the spit.
it's a good
and then
beginner
shoot it
card.
and
I
up the
like
range
that.
kind
I
of thing.
like that positive note to that because, you know, our content is geared
definitely
towards
a beginner
beginner,
card.
towards intermediate. So if you are in the process of learning, or maybe you're outgrowing your old play style, think about what he just said, you know? Don't feel guilty that you have that card in
There
your
are
loadout.
some,
Just take it
I think,
out.
what do we call them? Crutch cards.
Yeah,
Are
filler
some crutch
cards.
in the game. Like that for sure. I think Lilith's blood cannon card, same example. If it's good for people who are, struggling to keep their blood health, up. But once you learn how to manage that, you should honestly drop that from your build with Lilith and invest in some of her other stuff because she has some really strong cards. Oh yeah, I love that example.
Yeah, I had to
Easy.
simplify it. Oh, yes. Oh my god, I put cars and not cards. He needs cars. I just pictured a
Ciao.
bunch of flying cars. What the fuck? Okay, and what were you saying about Lilith?
Oh, same concept, just different example with Blood Cannon. The card.
Oh,
I think it's good as like a beginner crutch card.
Oh,
but once you learn
yeah.
how to actually like manage your blood health properly, honestly, her other cards give her much more impact.
and not
Blood
even that.
Cannon
It's like
used
just
to be meta because
it
it used to
used
give you
to.
1250 blood health, not 250.
yeah. Well, and now
that
it's
it
just
only
like
gives
go
1,000
vet.
less.
Just give
Not
yourself
as
more
jacked.
base health. That's the best thing for her.
Mm-hmm.
That and now with the
I will say
rejuve
that
change.
card does affect Veteran because Veteran scales off her full health, or her full health, not just a little white bar.
That's the only reason why I have it in my loadout, but I don't have it. I don't know if
So
it's
if
in
you
my
do
main
plan on
one.
running Veteran, that is,
Yeah.
it does have more impact.
That is literally the
Veteran
only
will have
reason.
more impact when it's in there.
That's the only reason. That's the only value you get out of fucking running Blood Cannon. Is if you're, because that's how I play her.
That's
because
why do you think I always tell people to drop it?
yeah,
I'm like, just learn to manage it. But if you're getting Veteran, it does make sense.
yeah. It's not that I can't manage it. It's like I know my games, and this is another point to add, just completely off topic, but it's still relevant. If you know your elo, and this goes out to anybody, any level playing this game. If you know how your games are, and you know who you're running into, especially if you play a lot, you know how they play. You need to have a loadout specific for when you run into them. I'm sorry. Like I'm that petty. I'm that petty. If I know how you play, I'm going to have a I will name that shit after you, deadass. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, just to go off what he's saying. That's exactly why I run the builds I run. A lot of people will scrutinize my builds for whatever, and I'm like, that's great. You don't deal with my problems in your lobby, but I do. So to defend my ass, I'm gonna run my build and play my way to save my booty, because I know how I play and I know how my teammates play. I know how my enemies play. So because of all that awareness, I'm gonna put that knowledge somewhere that's in my fuckery of builds, because that's just So I mean, that's a good thing. If you pay attention to what's going on around you, and you see how your games go. And I mean, games could change game to game, but again, if you're seeing the same names and you're picking up on how they play, it's helped me. I mean, I've seen the same Lilith a few times. I've seen the same Ray a few times. I'm like, okay, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. I'll never forget. And I use this example a lot because everyone remembers this for the most part. You may not, Justin, because this is a while ago. This is like 2021, but there was a game. It was a TDM game, and we were 5-stacking, And this is back when Quali used to stream a lot, so we used to run into her 5-stacking. That shit was stinky. And it was, I want to say it was her, and I was like, I know that Sky. I know what they're going to do. They've been doing it all game, you guys. They're going to go through that teleport, and they're going to throw their ult. Why? 2 seconds after I said it, time's ticking. And I'm like, you guys, I literally just warned you. And my entire team was wiped. I was the only one alive. Like, this is what I mean. Like, yes. If you know how they play, like, use your knowledge.
Good example. If you know like a really aggressive Lilith who likes to main the swarm around herself.
Yeah.
I always forget that one.
Maelstrom.
Yeah, Maelstrom. Wait, is that the same talent as Grok too?
Yeah.
Do they have the same talent?
Well,
what the fuck?
His is just Maelstrom.
Well, I think,
Maelstrom of Carnage.
Maelstrom of
That's right. They are
Carnage.
both Maelstrom. Okay.
We just say
Sorry.
Maelstrom,
Side.
but yeah. My bad. I thought that when I first saw it. I was like, y'all can't come up with any other fucking name. Confuse your fucking
Me over here,
players.
squirrel. Fuck, what was I gonna say now?
Fuck. I was talking about the Sky story, and she ulted my team. And you're like an aggressive Lilith.
Oh yeah, Lilith. When she runs that talent, if you're on Tyra and you know she's gonna be jumping you, might as well have a build where you don't take damage from your burn monster and you just throw your burn monster at your feet. If she wants to be near you, she's she's the only one taking that damage.
Oh, that's actually really stinky. Like, that's so stinky.
I have had a Lilith that I recognize, and I have a Tyra build specifically for that reason.
That is big brain. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
I don't play Tyra a
lie.
lot, but it happened like literally like 2 or 3 times in a night, and I was like, fuck this, I'm making a build so I don't have to deal with this shit.
I remember a couple episodes ago we had a discussion. It was when we did the Vora hot seat, and it was hilarious because, you know, our personal Vora main Nova was, you know, kind of shitting on the double tendril talent. And I used to shit on that talent all the time. You could ask anybody. Like, I only ran the first talent. I only started running the second one because I needed more evasion for certain DPS players that I run into all the time that have admitted to me they call it the acrobatic Vora bullshit is what they say. They cannot stand it. I have to do that. I have to. Disorientation and evasion is all I know on Vora because no. DPS.
See, that's how you like to play, and that's what you feel comfortable. So
Yeah,
that's
because
like your
if I
style.
don't do that, I get mowed. I get mowed down. Now, the only time that gets difficult is if they have a pocket. But it also can be helpful because if the pocket comes, then I have an escape route. There's been plenty of games where you've saved my ass, you know, you and Itachi both supporting me. Fucking Raise 2, where I'm like 1 HP because I've done flung myself for halfway
Where did
across
your
the
health
map.
bar go?
I'm like, hi
How are
guys.
you alive?
Nice to see you
You don't have a
again.
health bar.
I know. I'll like right click real quick just to get the quick, you know, heal off of that just to help with the healing. Which,
something, just some breathing.
if I'm not mistaken, they changed that now to where it doesn't, I don't think it cleanses anymore.
What
The right click on Vora.
is that? Her slam?
Yeah. I don't
think
know.
it cleanses anymore. No,
Yeah.
it does give you invulnerability, but I think it's like who else has it? Who's another example?
I think she gets
There's
DR
someone you can
off
put
it.
like your poison on. Oh, like Con Shout. It's like Con Shout. You get the invincibility frames or whatever, but if you have some like damage over time, like Sky's poison, it'll
Yeah.
start ticking again after the end.
I think that's something that's a bad habit of mine. I'm gonna have to stop doing then because I wasn't sure, so I was still doing it out of like
Let me
habit.
see. I can look. If it says it cleanses, then it would.
But I feel like that was one of the changes that majorly impacted Vora.
Flash around you, knockback. You will be immune to damage and crowd control, but yeah, it doesn't cleanse.
Damn. So yeah, it doesn't. Cause that was my main
that's
way to
the-
get away from stuff. Was like I would yeet myself far enough and then do that real quick, and then go right back into the fight because I'm at that point I've already cleansed all the bullshit. So damn, that sucks.
Yeah, let me see. I'm trying to see if it has the same wording as cons. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same wording. Immune to damage, so I think it's the same thing as
Damn.
cons.
Yeah.
Cause I know I do that with Sky. Like they'll shout real quick, and then, you know, if you're not running debilitate, then you didn't really use out on a lot of damage there. It's still gonna
Yeah.
tick after.
Yeah, no, I've gotten fucked by a lot of
And
skies
you know me, I
recently
like
from
the
that.
I like the
yeah.
smoke build Sky. I like to give everybody the speed boost.
I can't really think of anything else because these two that we mentioned for the pairing builds is kind of like the two biggest examples of pairing it.
Yeah, they're
Just-
really good examples.
Just buffing your teammates. I mean, really, the only reason why you'd even pair your talent with anything is for these reasons. To go off of your card loadouts and the items you're buying. Because if you're going high mobility champs, you're obviously wanting all the movement speed in your loadouts. Y'all have seen my Mave loadouts. They're ridiculous. Go ahead, baby. Did you eat all your food? Okay. Can you ask me about to serve you with a piece of cake? Thank you. But yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if y'all want to add anything to that, but that's really all I can think of because if not, we'd be down a rabbit hole. And I feel like
right. I was like, I can keep going, but
I just feel like as far as this being like a
Sorry.
video for, you know, for y'all to listen, you know, I don't have to type anymore. You have to read. You have to read what these talents do.
yeah.
You've got to use your common sense. I
They
know
take their wording very literally.
that's and
Like,
guys,
they have some
yes.
wording that's similar but different.
so glad
and
you
they
said that
actually
shit.
Do different things.
Don't let the wording trick you, y'all. Like, read it. Ask your friends. Read the stuff that's out there. Tune into our podcast. And I mean, hey, Andrew Chicken, he streams, he answers questions. I mean, his chat could be a little fucking shithead sometimes, but I mean, that's all fucking, that's all games. That's all. Our chat can be shithead sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just
Right.
ask a fucking question. Like, never be afraid to ask a question. You're gonna get shitty people who are gonna be really sarcastic, condescending in this game, as all FPS games have. But you won't know if you don't ask. And for example, like I just did, I just cleared multiple bad games for me on Vora because I was still doing that out of habit, not even realizing that was a change recently. I wasn't sure. Justin confirmed it. Boom. Now I know. Like, there, just ask, you guys.
That's what I
And
usually do. If it's like a similar thing, a similar effect, I try and go read the wording on one of the things.
that's
that
a
I
really good
do
tip,
know.
actually.
Mhm.
Does anyone want to add anything to this? I think this is pretty much complete. We had another one of the books.
Nope.
Yes.
And like always, guys, thanks for dropping in, and don't forget, don't flank.
Ray's has the best advice. Don't flank. Also, in case you were wondering, every time this pops up, I've told you in the past I've gotten the idea of taking every single one of these that we've done and creating a book with it. So I eventually will do that. I've decided that when we reach episode 20, I will turn it into a book and create our ultimate Paladins noob guide and start selling that bitch. And I don't even care if it don't sell, but I'm only gonna make like maybe like 5 to 10 copies and just see how it goes.
Let's go.
But I mean, this just looks so cute. Like, look at that.
It's adorable.
I wish I could make the image bigger. I can zoom in. Like, look how cute that is, bruh. But all right.